Welcome to the channel, everybody. My name is Ryan, and we are back with episode 2 of my latest Unreal World series, the Hermit Challenge, also known as Canute's Redemption. So, if you're new to the channel in the series, first of all, I hope you'll hit that like button and subscribe as well. And I've got a link to the full playlist for this series and all my other Unreal World content down in the description. So, if you get caught up with this one, there's a ton more for you to check out, including Canute's original series where he wiped out the hated Ner peasant from the land. But enough talking, guys. Let's jump into the adventure. And we begin today's excitement here on the world map. Canute stands facing off against an elk, just a few miles away from his current position, but we are definitely going to try and take this elk out. Now, of course, all we have right now in terms of our weapons is a stone knife, and yes, we also made the stone axe. So we are definitely not going to be actively hunting this, in the sense I probably won't be shooting any arrows or throwing javelins since we don't have any. One thing I am going to make sure to do though is drop some of the extraneous stuff that we've got. So we'll select the rock, the branch, and the elk droppings. Good. We'll drop those just to get rid of the weight. Yeah, and let's see. How's our fatigue? Can we rest a little bit? No. Our penalty is pretty high right now, at -20, in large part due to our starvation. So Canute needs the meat. Anyway, it's time to approach the elk. Now, he's not in a great position. He's got himself right up against the edge of a huge forest. So I'm going to try and maneuver myself. Oh, he just disappeared. Dang it. Hopefully he'll come back. There he is. Alright, let's encounter him. But I'd like to put myself between her. Oh no! Oh my gosh. So, that was bad. You know what I just did? I tried to use the command from a different game to zoom out, and it made me fall asleep. Oh, I've got to get used to it again. It's been too long since I played. Okay, these are an hour old, heading to the south. We're not out of this fight yet, though. We should still be able to reacquire the animal. Hopefully, we'll see. It is a big female elk too. I'm actually going to be grabbing the droppings now. Whenever I find those, it can later be used as fertilizer. All right, let's pop out to the world map. Nope, she's not here yet. Sometimes you can kind of rustle them up, scare them onto the world map, but we just have to zoom around a little bit. There's a fox. That's not what I'm interested in. Oh boy. What an annoying thing to misclick, but it happens more than you might imagine. And for any new players out there, of course, one of the big challenges with any roguelike is just getting the controls down and figuring out what does what, kind of getting that muscle memory going. But, okay, here we go. Here's some tracks. Let's check them. They are leading northeast. Perfect, so we're going in the right direction. They're very fresh, too. I'm going to go into stealth mode. Maybe we can get close to her and spook her. Of course, without a bow and arrow, the real goal is to just wear her out so she's completely exhausted, and we'll be able to just walk up to her and club her on the head. But we've got a little ways to go before that happens. We've actually got to spot her again. So let's not be afraid to jump back out to the world map real quick. I might even move a little bit. Return to that position. Let's just look around again. Sometimes that helps. She's gonna roam the area, but they usually stick around for a little while. It's a little tricky to move with all this water here, but here we go. We got a lot of tracks. It's good and bad. We know she's in the area, but these tracks are so mixed together, it's really tough to have any idea what direction she's going in. So I'm just moving around. Let's not give up just yet. I'll keep going. Okay, check it out. I have spotted her again on the world map, and I was just using that technique of moving around a little bit on the local terrain map, jump out to the world map, look for her, then zoom back in and repeat. Finally, she popped up here. And this time, I promise, I'm not going to hit the wrong button. This is unfortunate. We don't actually see her yet, so she's probably just off screen. Try and go into stealth. I don't know where she's at. We got more tracks here. I presume these are very fresh, leading northeast. Yeah, she must be just out of our sight, so let's follow these tracks. These are good solid trail that just stopped. Where'd they go? Damn it. They might have gone off this. There she is. There she is. Alright, whew. Okay, so she's unhurt, of course, but she's not, also has no fatigue. That's what we're trying to change. We want that to say elk breathless. That's the goal. Now, we also have to monitor our own fatigue levels, so if we get too high, we can't move at all either. But I'm going to start sprinting. And it's kind of hard to see, but you can tell that my character is sprinting because there's now a little bit of a cloud of dust below his feet, and it also says that we're running. So we're going to zoom back out using the correct commands, and what we want to do is spook her. There we go. So now she is also in flight. She is running, and it says the elk flees. Of course, when she's running, she's using her energy reserves, and if we can put the pressure on her long enough, she will just become literally dead tired, pun intended. Alright, so this is pretty good terrain. I'm going to stop running. Other than the fact that we've got the forest nearby, these big ponds will confuse her if we can get her to run right up next to one. Okay, so she just took off again. Let's follow her. There we go. Look, she's trapped on a peninsula. Let's take a look at her. She's only slightly fatigued, but they will go in the water, and they can swim, but they don't seem to really do it that much, especially when they're fleeing like this. I mean, I've seen wolves get in the water and try and attack me when I was in a boat before, but she is, even if it means her life, doesn't appear she's going to get wet. So what I'm going to do is very carefully approach her. I'm going to have to get into melee and start hitting her with my stone knife. There we go. So we're now in melee. What I don't want to do is let her slip behind me. So if I make any misclicks or wrong actions, she could slip away. Let's go ahead and hit the 1 button to select our knife. My enemy is diagonal. Oh no, we're not actually next to her. Damn it. Let's move forward. Okay. There we go. Now it was a little hard to see there, but yeah, we weren't truly next to her. Now we are. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to do, damn, there's no blunt. That's a bit unfortunate, but I'll do the edge at her legs. Oh, shoot. She got away. Hold on. I'm going to run. Okay, perfect. Stop running. Hit her again. Let's do point at the legs. Come on. Okay, perfect. So the reason I go for the legs is you can see it kind of stun locked her, so to speak. I hit her in the legs. She stumbled and fell, and she used her turn to get back up. So she can't move now, at least not until I've taken my turn, which I'm just going to repeat the same action. Go for a leg shot. We missed her, so she was able to run. Let's pursue. And all the while, she is still in sprint mode, so she's becoming more fatigued, and we've hurt her a little bit now. All right, let's get in there. This is dangerous. And if you're wondering, she could attack us. Big herbivores like this don't always, but it's possible. All right, let's repeat our last command. She went to her feet, and she went to the ground and just got back up. That's good. And eventually the goal is to cripple her, so she won't be able to run. Or if she can run, it's like a really reduced pace. And I'm just repeating again and again. There we go. So she has stumbled and fallen. Now, let's see. She's not unconscious yet. What I'm going to do is take this opportunity to wield my axe. Okay. Yeah, I'm really hoping that the axe, I can use the blunt. See, look at all these little punctures. They're not fatal, which is, I mean, unfortunate. We'd like her to die, but it's also damaging the skin, which is going to be a big reason we're killing this animal, is for the fur. We're going to need that to really start our crafting enterprise going. I mean, like I said, now the best thing to do is to try and use any blunt parts of the axe. There we go. So we can now use blunt, which doesn't, tear up the skin, essentially. And I'm going to go for the head now. I'm going to switch it up. Now she's unconscious. We'll repeat that action. Blunt, skull. Now she's dead. We have done it, folks. Canute has made his first kill as a hermit. Although it was violent, taking an animal's life is required for survival in such punishing terrain, and he's already been without food for at least a couple of weeks, so anything's looking good to our man Canute. So, the very, very important thing to determine now is, can we dry this meat, or are we just going to have to roast it and probably waste a little bit? We're going to try and avoid that, and of course we can very generously do sacrifices of meat to the gods, but you can only do that basically once a day, really. So we will utilize every part of the animal, no doubt about it, and try and waste as little as possible. First step to do, though, since we are a little bit fatigued, let's go ahead and just rest. We'll sit down on top of the carcass and just have a pondering of the world. Catch our breath and just think about things. Okay, so that's done. Very important, before we butcher it, we have to skin the animal. So let's make that effort. Beautiful. It's a laborious process, so he's going to need to rest, and we can go ahead and have a drink. Beautiful. He's still starving. We haven't been able to eat anything yet, obviously. Let's repeat our task of skinning. We pick up where we left off. Beautiful. There we go. So we've got, it's ragged quality, and I would be willing to bet that's more due to all the little punctures we put into it, attacking the legs, than it is Canute's skinning quality, or his skill, I should say. Nonetheless, we take what we can get, and that will still work for crafting as long as I don't let it rot. But the next step is to rest. And we're going to possibly have to sleep here at some point, which isn't a big deal. Let's go ahead and butcher. Boom. Oh, that was huge. We got the butchering done very quickly. And, let me see here. 63 cuts. Wow, that is small. That is a minuscule amount. Huh. I've never seen an elk drop that little amount. Maybe the weights have been adjusted on some animals. That's insane. Well, in a way that's good, because this is definitely enough food to raise him out of starvation, so his physical performance will get back to full strength. All that's great, and we probably won't waste any of this. So, blessing in disguise there a little bit. Nonetheless, we still have to get home, guys. So we zoom out and we make the very short journey right back home. And despite being extremely tired and, of course, starving, Canute has managed to stumble his way back to the little shelter here next to this small lake. Unfortunately, I don't think this will be Newt's final destination. In other words, we'll probably build him a cabin somewhere else in the wilderness. It'll still be far away from any civilized parts, but I mean, nonetheless, this has been a good hunting ground, so we could do a lot worse, but that's still a ways away, so we won't worry about it right now. The big thing now is to get the skin processed, and I'd still like to test out the meat, even though we're going to roast a lot of this and start eating. It might be interesting to see if we can still dry it at this time of the year. So, let's see, what do we have at our feet here? I didn't really prepare too much for a fire, so let's go ahead and move the spruce twigs. All 16 of them is fine. We don't really need a lot of, spruce here, or a big fire, darn it. We don't need a really big fire to cook some of this meat, just to get it going. So let's roast. We'll just do the maximum, which is 10 at a time. Okay, continue. Now, that is working. Oh, good. We got a little... Canute is on the game course task here. So, we just made some food. I'm not really going by this, but this is good for any new players. It's kind of like a little tutorial, and it'll give you little perks along the way. Some items occasionally, and even some like permanent skill levels up. So this is something we'll probably see pop up from time to time. Anyway, okay. Now it's telling me we're on to timber work. Next task is to fell a tree. We'll be able to do that, no doubt about it. So let's see here. He is extremely tired. But it would be really great if we could go ahead and maybe clean this skin. So I'm going to go into skills, then I'm going to select H for hide working, and we're going to clean the skin. There it is. Well, always takes a lot of water to do this, so I find it's just best to stand next to a body of water instead of trying to use multiple containers. That's really, really cumbersome to do that. Alright, so he's ready to drop now. In fact, he's probably pushed himself to the point where he's going to pass out as soon as he's done. No, he did not pass out. Well, we're still going to just force him to sleep real quick. Take a drink, buddy. Alright, so he's not in great shape still, but the food should be done. So let's grab all of this. Oh boy, it's the first meal in weeks, guys. His fast is over, so before we do anything else, he definitely needs to go ahead and eat. Now, I've said this point before, if you're new or if you're playing, be very careful when you have a character who's starving and you might have raw meat and roasted meat, or even maybe got mushrooms you're trying to identify, because whatever's at the top of the list, I have a tendency just boom, boom, click it. And at this point, he probably would eat the raw meat. So, and that would make him sick. So we want to be careful about what we ask him to eat here. There you go, buddy. Eat the roasted stuff. Oh, wow. Now we shall sleep. It's morning, but Canute does not care. He needs to sleep, and he's going to eat again. Delicious. Okay, very good. Now, at my feet, I've got a bunch of cordage here. I'm going to grab these, because if we are able to dry this meat, we'll need these. So let's try it right now. We're going to go into cooking menu, and I'm going to use D to dry. We'll do a full batch. Nope, it says the setting you're at does not meet the requirements. Means it's too warm and humid at the moment. And that's seasonal. So in other words, I think even at this point, even if the temperature dropped, like we had one cold night, it still probably wouldn't let us. I think it's based on the seasonal timers and not each individual day's temperature rate. But I might be wrong about that. Nonetheless, at this point, we're just going to roast all this elk meat. Canute has now laid out 30 or so cuts of meat to roast by the fire. It is late evening, but he is still feeling very lively, so I think we should continue along with this skin. One of the other consequences of being in warmer weather, aside from the fact that we can't dry anything, is that meats and raw skins like this will go bad much quicker. They will become rotten and unusable. So, yeah, we need to prepare this, get it preserved, turn it into something usable. Let's see. So he's got 23 cuts left. We'll continue to cook, but also I'm going to probably, well, we need to use most of this fat for the skin, but we'll see how that goes. What I am going to do, though, for sure, is a sacrifice. So we're going to sacrifice one of the raw elk cuts to the gods. There you go. We feel comfortable now. That's good. We want to maintain a positive, cordial relationship with the spirit world, which in this game is a real thing. So anyway, let's go ahead and proceed to our hide working. So these are not really in order. I guess in some ways they are. It's one of these like curing the skin. We're not going to do that. We're going to skip right to the tanning process. So we've cleaned it. And like I said, we're not curing. You could, if you want, if you've not really had the time, you could cure your skin for long-term preservation. And then, of course, you can revitalize it and further the process down the road. But right now we're going to go to tanning. And yes, of course, that's the only skin. The materials we're going to use to tan are fat. In this game, the only things you can use to tan are barks and the fat from the animal itself. Brain tanning, which I know is a thing in real life, is not possible, as far as I know. All right, and it's time to eat. Make sure not to eat the raw stuff. Delicious. Fill them right up. Beautiful. Okay, so the skin is on the ground, and if I try and re-pick it up, it says it'll be ready by late morning. So very important we give that time, and we will walk by the armor. It's getting rained on, but such is how it should be. Let's go ahead and grab everything here. I forgot the command to grab everything. Select all. Okay. There it is. Got to get used to this thing. And we're doing good. We're doing good. Let's see. While we wait, I think it's probably smart to start accumulating firewood, because we will be doing more hunting, certainly, and definitely some trapping. We've got to be restrictive about what we do kill, because we don't have the ability to smoke meat, nor will we until we make a cabin. So we don't want to waste anything if possible. But wood I can definitely prepare ahead of time, so I will do all the boring chopping and stuff like that off camera. You don't have to worry about watching it. All right, well, the second phase is almost done. Canute has just recovered a bit from starvation. That's good. We're still experiencing a negative 11% penalty to our overall endurance levels from the previous starvation, but this thing here, the skin, is now not going to be ready until after midnight. Once we can pick this up, it will be on the final stage. What we'll do is we'll move it from the edge of the lake into our shelter, where you can see I've got a tree trunk right next to the shelter for good reason. So we will use that to beat that skin out, or the fur, dry it out, and then it'll be done. It'll be ready to use. We can turn it into clothes, cordage, all kinds of good stuff. With the mod pack I've got, there are quite a few construction options. And if you were curious about how I'm going to obtain things like metal tools and axes to build a cabin while being a hermit living in the woods avoiding civilization, this is how we'll do it. We're going to use our mining tab down here to scoop up lake iron or find some mountain ore, and we will then from that point build a furnace, a smelter, an anvil. We've got to do it all ourselves from hand, but that's part of the process of being a hermit, so we will get there. It'll take a while, but it should be a fun experience here. And of course, a lot of the boring stuff I will cut out, but you guys will be there for all the momentous occasions. Now, speaking of momentous, I think it's time, while we wait for that to work over there, the skin, we'll rest a little bit, but we're going to jump out to the world map and check the traps that we placed in recent days. It's been a little while, and I think if we look, you can see this trap is set. There's a way to see how long we've been there. That might be on the world map itself. If we were to zoom all the way in, use our cursor. Yeah, so we visited these basically 3 days ago, these trapping sites. They're very close, so they're kind of overlapping, but it can be useful information because you want to give them time. Okay, so let's step into the circle and zoom in. Oh, shoot. Nothing here, but that's okay. You can see we just got 4 very small traps. They're just for birds. It will be helpful to get some of the small amount of leather and feathers from the birds. That's going to be the big thing. The meat itself is kind of negligible. Sometimes you catch a nice juicy big bird, but most of the time you get like 1 or 2 cuts from a bird, which you can use, to help out. Feed your animals, sacrifice to the gods. All right, we've got a few things here. Let's grab this. This is what we were carrying when we encountered that elk. Take that back to camp. Let's zoom out a bit, though. Let's just give it a look. Oh, I should eat, too. Get into the habit of eating again. Sometimes it's easy, sounds strange, but it's easy to forget to feed your character when you've gone for a long period of time in starvation mode, where they just don't eat because you don't have anything. But okay, just getting a little bit of a look at our surroundings while we've got some sun here. It's early evening. He's getting hungry again. Eventually, as his nutrition level rises, yeah, he won't get hungry quite as often. But, okay, we're still recovering from starvation. Very nice to see that. Let's wheel through some of this area we haven't discovered. I like to check my map quite often. Oh, interesting. We've got a cave. So, it's getting a little bit late, but let's dive in here. Take a look at this cave. Yes, I've had entire runs where, in fact, my most recent playthrough was a caveman run. And it can be very useful to set up shop in a cave. There are some downsides to it. Right here I can see that this place has cliffs, so we would have to climb to get into this. Potentially, there might be a way in without climbing, but it's hard to see right now. Everything's dark. And without a torch, we won't be able to just explore the cave like you do like any open areas, because the light doesn't penetrate that cave without a torch. So it's good though. We know of it on our map, so we're going to zoom out. There it is. It's a potential resource. We could maybe put a bear trap in front of it. Might be something to think about. Like I said, we could also use a cave to live in until we actually make a cabin. I have successfully smoked meat in caves, but it's tricky. You've got to set things up properly. All right, let's see here. Where are we? There we go. So, don't see much. It is now after midnight. Oh, did I just see something? I think I spotted something in the trees there, but that's okay. We won't be doing a lot of forest hunting. I usually stick to the open marshlands, and I like to live in the peaceful forests. All right, so we've returned. Small hours of the day, and of course, we're on a completely opposite cycle here. We're weary. Let's step to the lake edge, have a drink. Eventually, one of the first things I'll probably make with this skin once it's done, or this fur, is to make a couple of bags that we're going to be able to put our food in and put water in there, so it's more convenient for eating. There it is. So the ragged skin is rinsed. Let's finish it. Well, honestly, we should sleep before we try and finish it. Okay, there we go. We have slept. It is early afternoon. Slept away the day, and he's vigorous again. So let's go ahead and finish this baby off. There we go. We got the work surface and the beater. It is tiresome work, though, so we're going to eat, have a little lunch, and then we'll hit repeat. Proceed to finish this. Oh, boy. He is really struggling to finish, but that's okay. Just, it's a process. And he's not fully recovered from starvation, but we are getting there. Boom, there it is, finally. Look at this. We've got ourselves a beautiful ragged elk fur. Yeah, so quality's not great, but it could be much worse. I'm going to drop a few things, but I am not dropping the fur, because like I said, I've got plans for that baby. All right, well, check this out. So a game course event just occurred, and I got a fishing rod. That's right, so I went ahead and crafted up 2 bags. That was what triggered the event, and I didn't realize it would give me a fishing rod right away. That's cool, though. So, yeah, we got a fishing rod with an iron hook now. Once again, I think it's F3, F2? No, let's see. F5. There's the game task under F5. So there's 2 of these. When you start your game, it will ask you, there's 3 options: the normal way without a game path, the basic game path for new players, and this is the more complex path here. And so it's for more advanced players, but still it's a tutorial in a sense. Like I said, though, it'll give us little bonus items, so that's pretty fruitful. It's lucky. We'll just say in the 10 cents of the role playing that the spirit realm has gifted Canute with a new fishing rod to help assist him in his journeys, which is good too. We still have food. I've got 38 roasted elk cuts plus a few other ones here scattered around. But this won't last forever, certainly. So, Canute's not the best fisherman. Let's see, yeah, that's one of his least apt skills. Of course, weather lore would be the absolute worst, but fishing's like second worst. It's tied for second worst for net making. So, well, and then again, agriculture's not even on the list there. So, we're going to have some work to do in that area, but it'll be fun. A lot of folks out there enjoy fishing in this game, and it is a viable way to survive. If you set up a spot next to some rapids, or if you just want to do ice fishing all winter, you can do that, certainly. All right, so with that said, we've got an extra... Yeah, I don't need the ragged fur right now, so I'll drop that. Don't need the cordage, because that's what I use to make the bags too. Now, first thing I'm going to do is we're going to use the bag. I'm going to hit the action command, select the container, and I'm going to I'm going to pour or put something into one of these bags, and it's going to be the 38 roasted elk cuts. So that bag now is filled with 20 pounds of meat, and what that does is it prevents us from having to hit the button again and again. When I go to eat, if he's really hungry, he'll eat the full piece normally, and then he would still need like half a piece of another spot or another steak. with it all in the bag, he just takes one big bite, essentially, and then it's done. One and done, so you don't have to click as much. And of course, the bag also, the second one, will serve as a canteen. So now we can come over, and don't need to do that. Let's hit action, fill the bag with water. Beautiful. Okay, so it definitely increased our weight now, because that's a substantial amount of water, 20 pounds of it, but it is very helpful, especially during the frozen months when most of the water, rivers, I mean, it's still accessible because you got to spend time breaking the ice, but it's much more convenient to have this. It's probably something I should drop, though, in the spring and summer, because like I said, 20 pounds when we're in the middle of an elk hunt, for instance, is not going to help too much. So yeah, I'll drop that. And we're looking good, guys. I think we need to jump back out to the world map. Been less than 3 days since we checked it, but these birds, yeah, they might fly through here. And I expect once the berry bushes that we set our bird traps onto, these little reddish splotches, they're not ripe yet. Yeah, not yet. So we will, let's see if we can identify it. No, don't recognize it with our herb lore yet, but we can continue. You can practice herb lore like several times a day, so it's worth checking them. Nonetheless, guys, when that starts to fruit, I think we'll see some birds here, hopefully. It's not, again, not something that's going to sustain us, just for resources. Let's have one more trek around the area and see if there's anything worthwhile. Maybe another cave we could run into. Or I'm always on the lookout for a potential base location. You know, somewhere where we can truly settle down and start to make the beginnings of, you know, a permanent settlement where we'll build our cabin. Now, these mountains are great having them nearby. We'll probably see more bears and stuff than normal. But I'm certainly not going to build my cabin on a mountaintop. I guess it's possible. I would do it on the side of a mountain. And there are some interesting valleys that can be created sometimes. Oh, look at this. We have just located another cave just to the south. Yes, and of course they're very easy to locate on the world map. You can't see it, but there's a white triangle underneath the red dot. Yeah, so Canute is covering it up, but let's explore this one. And when I say explore, let's just look at the structure of it. Not going to dive in yet. Although I guess we could build a torch. They're very simple. Oh, this is an interesting... Maybe if the entrance is flat, maybe we will build a torch. Let's see. And by that I mean if we don't have to climb in here with over some cliffs. Yeah. I think we could just walk right into this one. Let's see. So what I need to do then is find a little tree. Perfect. Just need some branches. So we will knock down a few branches. I'm going to do that twice. And let's stop, take a break, have a little lunch. Very good. Now we'll go to our crafting menu. I want utility articles, torch. We'll just do one. Takes 10 branches. Okay. So in order to light it, we need to use a campfire. Can't really directly light it from our hands or anything. So we'll set the remaining branches, and now we activate the torch. Boom. So our torch is lit. It's hard to see because it is daylight, so we won't notice until we get in the cave, but you'll see now that the darkness will fall away just as easily as it does in a forest or something like that. There we go. Yep, our little torch is doing the trick here. Now, I've heard that it's possible to encounter bears and stuff in these caves like this. That's why it is important to explore with the torch, but it's never happened to me personally. I'm not saying it can't happen. I've just never experienced it firsthand. But luckily, I guess, right? But there we go. So we've got ourselves a very small little cave. Nonetheless, it's cozy. This could serve as home. We'll see how things go. There's always nicer spots. That's one thing I've found. Whenever I say, you know what, this is going to be where I settle, I inevitably find somewhere that's better. But speaking of which, I think we will save our exploration for the next episode, guys. So that'll do it for today. But don't worry, the series continues. The adventure will happen again the day after tomorrow. We are uploading for this series every other day. And I should mention, if you're new to the game, you want to pick it up, I've got the Steam link down below in the description. And also, if you're interested in the mod pack that I've got, that's down below too. So it's just a couple of clicks away. But I appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you so much. And I will see you all on the next one. Thank you for watching the video, everybody. I just want to take a moment to recognize my Patreons. As you can see, I've put their names in gold because they are, in fact, more precious than that shiny metal. Now, I'd like to take a moment to invite you to also support the channel for as little as $2, $5, or $10. You gain access to all my content early and ad-free over on Patreon, as well as a private Discord server with me and my other Patreons where we do some giveaways and have great conversations. But once again, thank you, everybody, and I'll see you on the next one.